Hello, everyone, and welcome to the National Sim Racing Association Beer Street Journal Grand National Series right here on 3Y TV. Tonight, we are turning left and we're turning right around the beautiful Sonoma Raceway in California. I'm Peter Short, and joining me alongside tonight is Garrett Gleason. And Garrett, we're going to be twisting our way around this 11-turn racetrack. It's extremely difficult. We've seen drivers struggle with it in the practice session. It's going to make for a little bit of an endurance race here tonight.
Absolutely, Peter. Endurance race. We've seen these guys on the super speedways. We've seen them on the intermediates. We've seen them at a short track. And now it's time to turn left and right. This race might separate some of our contenders for this championship from the guys who are a little bit on the pretender side. So qualifying is going to be key tonight, Peter. You're going to want to put down a good lap and get a good starting spot and keep that track position.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. It is going to be very important to go out there, get a good lap time in. You see Jason Gracias there in the number one machine. He's been very fast so far this season in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series. And of course, a big shout out to our friends over at beerstreetjournal.com. We got Stay Tuned Sports in the chat here tonight, ready to do a little bit of road course action here around this racetrack. Let's see if we can go on board here with a couple of the drivers out here who have been very fast in the practice session. Garrett, we were just talking about this a little while ago. Drew Eisenman, fastest in practice. Philip Scott nipping on his heels.
No surprise there, Peter. These guys are known for being fast everywhere, but especially on these road courses. And I think if you and I were discussing before the race, you're in the, Drew might be the number one contender to beat camp, and I'm in the Philip Scott gets his first win in NSRA here tonight. And I can't wait to see it, but I'm not counting anyone out. We showed Jason Gracias a little bit earlier. He's a guy that's going to keep that number one machine on the racetrack all race long, and sometimes at a road course, Peter, that might be all it takes.
And look at John Cannizzaro, very, very quick by Cannizzaro to go top of the board. We've seen Cannizzaro be very good in the heavy machines when it comes to road courses, and currently Cannizzaro is top of the board. Philip Scott is in second. We're waiting to see Drew Eisenman put in his first full lap at speed. Race Clark in the number 22 this week, recently changed to the double deuce. And Race Clark is going to slide back to fourth. Maxwell Castro here, coming in with a 1 minute 18.991, fastest of all in the first two sectors. Very, very fast. Very impressive to see Maxwell kind of jump up to the top of the board in the number 15 machine. Didn't exactly expect to see that. We'll see where Drew Eisenman places, but there is the number 15, and Eisenman goes top of the board, a 118.936, 55 thousandths of a second faster than this driver we're watching right here as the number 15 gets a little bit slideways off into turn number 7.
Well, Peter, those top two times between Eisenman and Castro are right there, neck and neck. And you obviously have a lot of experience in the road courses. Is there a chance of your second lap being better than the first, Peter?
Usually, no. Usually your second lap is not going to be as fast. Just because your tires heat up, they lose a little bit of grip. You try and get everything you can get on that first lap. Although the number 15 here, Maxwell Castro, he's going to try and pick up about another half a tenth. What can he do here coming out of the final corner? Turn number 11 coming to the start-finish line here at Sonoma Raceway. He almost caught the wall. Did he pick it up on lap number 2? He did not. And Garrett, he lost a second on his second lap. That just kind of gives you an indication of how much speed we're going to see these drivers lose here tonight. Good qualifying run for Joshua Sobel, all things considered. He actually, here tonight, Garrett, he, for the first time, is racing this racetrack. He had not ever come to the Sonoma Raceway before tonight, and he's inside the top 10 right now.
Yeah, I was also talking to Josh before the race, and he told me that with about 5 minutes before practice opening up, he was talking to Jimbo at Stay Tuned Sports, and he offered to buy him the track so he could race tonight, and he said, why not? I'll give it my best, and he's out there, and that's a good first lap for the lack of track time he has, Peter.
Yeah, for sure. You see him working his way down through the S's here and into the final S bend before you kind of head your way towards the hairpin. And it is, of course, a very interesting racetrack here tonight. We have some really cool camera views for these drivers here that we're going to get to bring you. So, John Freeman there in the 05. He went around. You see McLovin on the hood. He's going to try and have another crack here at the qualifying session. We did hear that qualifying will be advanced once we make it to the 10-minute mark. So a little bit of an extended qualifying session here tonight. That's why we didn't go live at our usual 5 minutes to 8:30 Eastern time. But I'm sure a lot of you in the chat will enjoy getting a little bit of look of wine country in California. Of course, it's very, very dry at this time of year. You know, Garrett, I've always wondered why they always model Sonoma as so dry, because at certain times of the year, this racetrack is so lush and green. And some people might not believe me, but if you look at pictures of this place in March and April, it is bright green, and of course it all dries out in the summer. It's probably because NASCAR usually comes here in the summer, but Sonoma, when it's green, is a really cool-looking racetrack.
Absolutely, Peter. It's a beautiful part of the country. They always show the vineyards on the NASCAR broadcast, and I mean, all you can see as we ride on board here with Freeman is the sand, and hopefully we don't see much of that tonight. Guys getting off track. And as we see the barren hills to our left there, but it would be nice maybe for iRacing to put some scenery in the background, give us something on the outer peripheries to look at.
Well, Stay Tuned Sports in the chat asking the question, who do we think is going to be the front runners here tonight? And I think we have the front runners at the top of the qualifying leaderboard here, Garrett. Definitely, we expect the number 77 of Drew Eisman to be fast. Maxwell Castro coming in here being fast. I mean, he's a name we haven't really seen this season here in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series, as John Freeman has a big moment right up at the top of the hill there, and he's going to have to return to pits in his 05 machine. But Drew Eisenman, Maxwell Castro, Philip Scott, and John Cannizzaro, we expect those four drivers to be very quick. And right now, just about 0.4 of a second separating those drivers. And then you have a gap back of about 0.8 back to Race Clark, who sits in 5th. Now, a great qualifying run for Race Clark, but he's going to have to find a little bit extra pace in the race, which can happen. We will talk about tire management being a key factor here tonight. But behind Race Clark, you got Jason Gracias, another 0.6 back. You got Corey Shellman, another 10th or so back. And then you find Josh Sobel sitting right now in 8th. And Garrett, one thing about Josh Sobel, he ran a 1 minute 21.38, which is a very respectable lap time. But right now, he is about 2.5 seconds slower than Drew Eisenman on the lap time that Drew was able to put in. So Sobel, it's his first time here at this racetrack. I know he's just going to want to keep it on the black stuff between those yellow lines that you see out there, but Sobel is going to have to hope that his long run pace, his ability to save the tires underneath that 56, will allow him to pick up some positions and move towards the top 5.
I certainly don't blame Josh for taking these extra laps in qualifying, get more familiar with the track, but I think the best thing for Josh is going to be what he normally does, and that is study the racetrack as the race goes on, get behind someone who's been here before, that's fast, study their braking points, find the passing zones, and get better and better as the race goes on. And I wouldn't be shocked to see Josh in the top 5 by the end of the night, Peter.
Yeah, so Josh Sobel right now working his way with some extra practice laps here in qualifying. William Kerwin in the chat saying, anyone else having buffering issues? Everything is all looking good on my end, William. So if you're having some connection issues, maybe try resetting anything. Stay Tuned Sports saying I have no buffering, so that's, I guess, good. As the number 56 out there on the racetrack trying to get those extra laps in, as it looks like we have advanced the qualifying session over into the race. So, Garrett, it's about time for us to bring up tonight's starting lineup for tonight's Beer Street Journal Grand National Series event. It is going to be an interesting one, a big field, 21 cars on a road course. We don't often see that here. It's a short race by mileage, only 60 miles, but 30 laps here at this particular racetrack is not easy. Drew Eisenman on the pole. Maxwell Castro only about 0.5 back there in second. Philip Scott going to be starting on the inside of row number 2. John Cannizzaro will be rolling off to his outside in 4th. Race Clark, Jason Gracias, row number 3. Corey Shellman and Josh Sobel making up 7th and 8th on the grid. Alexander Kerfon and Christopher Darling in 9th and 10th there, G.
Next row, we have Brady Smith, and alongside him is Matt Cherry. They're starting out just outside the top 10, 11th and 12th. 13th position, we have Travis White and Justin White to his outside. Glenn Grimm in the 08 starts in 15th with Stephen Ford to his outside in the number 27. Another one of the threat level midnight guys, Shane Ledoux, starts alongside his teammate Jeffrey Vickery in that row. And 19th position, we have Joshua Watt in the number 20, the Canadian. And John Freeman starting way back in the field after that heroic run trying to save fuel last week. And Ben Mashburn in 21st will start shotgun on the field.
So the iRacing Porsche pace car will start to get rolling here in just a moment. We'll get these drivers accommodated with the track here tonight. Let's bring up the current track conditions, because always when you talk about California and the sun that they have out there, you have to talk about the track temperature, and that is not the right one. There we go. That's the right button. As you can see, the current ambient temperature, 82 degrees Fahrenheit, right there in the middle of the graphic. But at the very bottom, Garrett, the track temperature, 122 degrees Fahrenheit. This racetrack is going to be very slick for these drivers. They're going to really have to watch out, keep that car on the road, and manage how much wheel spin they get. A lot of horsepower, 700 horsepower. They're heavy, 3,400 pounds, and you couple those two things together, and you can really abuse your Goodyear tires. And if you abuse your Goodyear tires, you're going to lose grip faster than anything, and it can be a real snowball effect, Garrett. You can start to lose that grip, so you drive the car a little bit harder, and you wear out your tires faster, so you lose more grip, and you just get into the cycle of just eating through your tires. Sometimes on these road courses, you just have to be a little bit patient, but that track temperature is not going to help here tonight with that tire management. That is for sure. Let's check out some of the cool cams that we have here tonight at this particular racetrack. Here we go, looking inside the left front suspension of Drew Eisenman, as you can just see how bumpy this racetrack is. Hopefully we'll get to see those brake rotors glow at some point here tonight. As you can see, he's going over some of those curbs. You just see them underneath the car there, but the suspension here going to get a workout.
Absolutely, Peter. A lot of hills in this track, a lot of uphill, and then you're going right back down. It's going to be some wear and tear on the suspension, wear and tear on the brakes. And like you mentioned earlier, with the track temperature being where it is, it's going to be key for these guys to keep those cars straight when they're putting the power down, especially on worn tires. And I'm thinking coming to the start-finish line might be our trouble area. It's a passing zone, and it's also going to be a zone where they're going their slowest, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I always liken the hairpin here at Sonoma Raceway to something Kyle Petty once upon a time said when he was the in-race reporter on TNT. I'll tell you what, they know drama. And this racetrack has put on some stellar races, and I hope it does so here tonight. The driver is just now coming into the hairpin. The pace car will head off to the left-hand side of the racetrack. You see them kind of getting stacked up there just a little bit. Drew Eisenman just waiting to see the green flag here. And, oh, man, he's really slowing him down. You don't want to go past the pace car, because if you do, you get a penalty, and that's not the right camera. Green flag finally waved. A kind of a wacky start here because of the pace car. It goes off to the left here, but everyone gets things sorted out, and already Philip Scott up into second. I'm sure Maxwell Castro won't be all too excited about that race start.
Oh, those guys on that even numbered row aren't too thrilled with the way that started, but it looks like they're getting into single file. We're heading up the hill, and very quickly we're going to be going down the hill, and we'll see if anybody tries to make a move here going into one of the few passing zones we have here at Sonoma.
Yeah, and so far everyone keeping it on the black stuff as well, so that is the good news. You see some of those drivers going curb hopping as well. There's, man, John Freeman getting it way out of shape there, but already here, Garrett, lap number one, we're over halfway through lap number one as these drivers weave their way down through the S's.
Everybody's doing a fantastic job keeping their cars on the racetrack, and we're going to start to see some separation here as, Jason Gracias gives the fans a little bit of show as he goes dirt tracking there. I don't know if we're going to keep an eye on him, Peter, but everyone else looks to be making it through this tough portion of the racetrack.
Yeah, Gracias is back on the racetrack, but he has dropped all the way down to the 13th position as we get maybe some side-by-side action between the 08 and the number 24 machine back through this apex. Let's check out Travis White. This is a good little group of cars. Travis just passed Alexander Kerfan just a little bit ago as they head up into turn number 1 and turn number 2. The number 11, a Chris Darling in the 11. Taz Racing Customs on the hood of the number 11 here this week. He's starting to have a little bit of a peak for that position. He has the number 54, Matt Cherry. It looks like Gracias again throwing it in deep. Garrett, I think we're going to have to keep our eyes on the number 1 of Gracias here.
Peter, we know Jason Gracias as well as we think we know Jason Gracias. He was probably hitting up some of those local vineyards before the race, and that explains his courage going into some of these corners as he makes a pass on Matt Cherry there, and looks like White is off track there in the 23.
Yeah, Travis White is off the racetrack. Let's see if we can see what happened to the number 23 machine here coming in to this corner. Looks like he just ended up going off the track, blew the corner a little bit, and stopped right there on the racetrack. He actually had to back up just a little bit, but he's going to lose quite a bit of track position, unfortunately. Meanwhile, Jason Grassi is trying to work his way back up to where he started, trying to go to the outside there of Chris Darling through the hairpin. It's not easy to do. Now we're hearing there's been problems for Glenn Grimm, who was just behind these drivers. Let's see if we can see what happened to the 08 machine right here. We're hearing there's been some more accidents out there on the racetrack. So lap number 2, Garrett, already we're starting to see some interesting behavior. Glenn Grimm, Ben Mashburn having a come together right there in the hairpin. Now let's see if we can figure out what happened to some of these other drivers right here, the 2 and the 20. I wonder if it just registered that as an accident, because they did kind of slow down quite a bit. Let's see if it was just that, or whether or not they had another coming together. The 2 being Justin White, and the number 20 in front of him being Joshua Watt. Looks like they're able to get away. Maybe it just registered them kind of coming to a halt on the racetrack to avoid the spun around car. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, Drew Eisenman is your race leader here, coming around to complete lap number 3, already 10% of the way through tonight's 60-mile race here at the Sonoma Raceway. So Eisenman leads over Philip Scott, Maxwell Castro there in third as they head up turn number 1 into turn number 2 here, G.
These front 3 have separated themselves from the field and the 4th place car of John Cannizzaro a little bit, and it's really no surprise with the way Castro was running in qualifying. As I go to talk again, Peter, and there's another accident out there, I guess you'll have to stop throwing it to me and just do this yourself, because I'm causing these guys all sorts of bad luck.
Yeah, on board here with Shane Ledoux, and Ledoux, oh man, he hit that curb really hard there, Garrett, and sent him off track, and Stephen Ford, his teammate behind him, also going off track. Looks like, I think that was that Justin White squeaking on through there? Let's see if we can go on board here with Justin White. Joshua Watt just in front of him, and the Threat Level Midnight machines in tandem doing some Tokyo Drift right here, but unfortunately, Tokyo Drift into the wall, and then their other teammate back there, Jeffrey Vickery, was on scene. So not a good lap there for the Threat Level Midnight machines, unfortunately, and now Shane Ledoux has the crinkled in front end, and even Ford behind him, missing a hood on the number 27 machine. So they will try and keep things going in the right direction. So let's jump back up to, let's see if we can pick up some of these battles for position. Here we go. This is Ben Mashburn and John Freeman. They're fairly close between one another right now and working their way through the final hairpin. Gotta love this this final hairpin, Garrett. It is a great spot to make a pass.
It's one of the most action-packed corners in racing, I think, Peter. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but over the years, so many good passes here in NASCAR, and so many good accidents and tempers flaring as well. I hope we don't have the tempers flaring, but that's definitely a part of the track to keep an eye on when it comes time to make that late race pass to get your to improve your finishing position, as we have maybe another incident out there, Peter?
Yeah, I think Glenn Grimm might have just had a little bit of moment here in the hairpin. We were literally just right there, and here he is coming into the hairpin. Maybe he just gets on the throttle a little bit too soon and lights up the rear tire. Sure enough, but he gets on the brakes, gets it pointed in the right direction, and back underway he goes. So let's see if we can kind of check in on the battle for the race lead. We're back live here. Drew Eisenman just completing lap number 5. So already 1/6 of the way through. Eisenman leads Philip Scott, but back there is Maxwell Castro. This battle for the lead, we expected the 77 and the number 99. But we didn't exactly expect that number 15 until we saw his qualifying pace and started on the outside of the front row in the number 15 machine. And Drew, I think the biggest thing for these 3 drivers right now is to manage their tires, because you can't win the race with 25 laps to go. You can only win it when the checkered flag falls. And so for these 3 drivers right now, they don't want to eat up their tires, because if they do, their race can be in jeopardy pretty quickly. Colin Ullery in the chat saying no safety cars here tonight. Yeah, no, just local cautions, and there won't be a safety car at some point here tonight. And William Kerwin saying that Ben's driving has him shake his head lately. Ooh, could there be some drama there tomorrow night in the Stay Tuned Sports Truck Series? But of course, tonight we have to get through the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series here at Sonoma. But Garrett, we're on a road course tomorrow night to upstate New York, Watkins Glen, tomorrow night here on 3 Wide TV.
What kind of sick individuals do they have making schedules here in the National Sim Racing Association? Road course on one side of the country tonight, and then tomorrow night we're going truck racing on the complete other side of the country. Like, do they not care about our travel expenses? Peter, you're going to be on the red-eye flight probably to get there in time. It's crazy, but you know what else is crazy? This battle we have for second place on the racetrack.
Yeah, and the fact that I don't know who you are. Of course, this is Garrett Gleason alongside me, not Drew Eisenman. Drew Eisenman's out there leading the race, but of course Drew will be alongside me tomorrow night in the Stay Tuned Sports Truck Series at the Glen. I know Drew has a little bit of history at the Glen here in the National Sim Racing Association as well, but a good battle up at the front of the field. There's also a good battle back here. This is Alexander Kerfan in the number 30 racing with Christopher Darling just lurking outside of the top 10 right now. So the 11 machine is calling his own number right now in the 11th position, running in front of Matt Cherry in the green number 54 Stay Tuned Sports Ford Mustang. I wanted to call it a Ford F-150, but that's a truck. Definitely not a Ford F-150 there. But Garrett, things kind of strung out. Oh, Cherry's gone around back there. The 54 machine going around in turn number 7. He gets it pointed in the right direction. But what happened here, Garrett, to the 54?
Well, Peter, I think you jinxed him is what happened to him, but we'll check the replay. Maybe it wasn't your fault. All right, he's coming in, and oh, just a little. Nope, so far so good. I thought maybe we were going to have a little spin off the rumble strips there. And well, I think he just got on the gas a little too quick on old tires there, Peter.
And Garrett, you start talking, and I think this is going to be the story here tonight. Garrett starts talking, and people start spinning. We're hearing that maybe the 27 machine had a moment. Yep, there's a little bit of a moment going around. Just wait a moment, and he was going in the right direction again. And then also, while Garrett was talking, the number 23 of Travis White was going through turn number 7 again. Now going into the S's. Did he have a problem here in the S's? Back end kicking out, locks it up. Brings it kind of to a halt. And then, I believe this was also while you were talking, Garrett, but the 27 of Stephen Ford, I think he had another issue, possibly where we just saw Matt Cherry have his problem a moment ago.
Peter, I don't know if it's that corner giving them trouble or my commentary, but we definitely have an issue there, and the threat level midnight cars are just not having a good race so far. There's still time to regroup for maybe some of them. Maybe somebody will have a good run, but if not, it might be time to load up the entire team hauler and move on to the next one, as we're we moved on the track. I can't even tell who that is, Peter, so you'll have to take over.
Yeah, that's Joshua Watt in the number 20, who, again, while Garrett's talking, has a little bit of a problem. And we're also, I think we maybe caught a quick glimpse of this, but Matt Cherry has been having a whale of a time there through the S's, and oh man, heavy contact with the inside wall. That's actually heavier contact than my software indicated. So the Stay Tuned Sports number 54, he's going to have quite a bit of damage. He might be on pit road. Yes, he is. So he's coming to his pit crew. Meanwhile, back up at the front of the field, this battle, well, it's we haven't seen any side-by-side action here, Garrett, but it's a good battle nonetheless. I mean, Drew Eisenman isn't getting away from Philip Scott, and Philip Scott's not getting away from the number 15 of Maxwell Castro. We have still a long way here to go, 21 laps, but we are quickly closing in on the 1/3 race distance with Eisenman leading in the Coors Light Silver Bullet throwback scheme, which he debuted last week here on the channel. And he's catching up to some lap traffic there with the number 12 of Ledoux going off the track, and Ledoux doing a little bit of rally crossing out there. Eisenman able to scoot away.
Yeah, good job getting out of the way and not coming back on the track in front of these leaders. But I was going to say, Peter, before the lap car got out of the way, that this might be an opportunity for Philip Scott or Maxwell Castro to make a move on Drew. But it just seems like right now, Philip and Max are taking their time, studying Drew, who's, from everything I've seen so far, Peter, is very smooth out there, just like he is everywhere else. So this is a good learning experience, and you don't need to make your move right now. We've all talked to Philip Scott week after week about not forcing the issue, not using up your stuff. We'll see if tonight he takes our advice and he keeps the tires on for a bit longer than Drew does. If he can do that, he could be the winner. But don't count Max out or any of the other guys either.
Yeah, big lunge there by Philip Scott into the hairpin. You can see he might have had a little bit of wheel hop, and he, of course, has all that pressure from behind in the number 15 machine of Castro. Now, one thing about this position, Garrett, is I do not envy Philip Scott at all in any way, shape, or form. He's trying to track down the leader, but he's also trying to defend from the number 15 behind him. So he has to look out front and out back. He has to do both at the same time, and that is not easy when you're a race car driver. You're trying to battle for position, you're trying to defend your position, and you're trying to not do anything dumb that might set up an opportunity for a car behind to go around and try and pass you. But Scott is as close to Eisenman as I think we have seen so far, and now Philip Scott, ooh, man, that car over there, the 08 machine, going a lap down. That is Glenn Grimm down in the 16th position. But you could see there, Garrett, that Philip Scott might have tried to force the issue and got a little bit of rear wheel spin, and all of a sudden now under fire from the number 15.
Drew got through the S's really well there, Peter. I don't know if just because Philip overdrove or if Drew's just that smooth out there. But yeah, Philip's going to go from offense to defense here as we go into the hairpin. So, Peter, a question back to you is, I talked to some of these drivers before the race. They told me they're averaging about 17 laps to maybe 19 laps on fuel. Is there any thought to being the first one on pit road, get your tires, get your service done, and get some fresh racetrack and make some quick laps so you're not dealing with the car right in front of you and right behind you out there?
You know, I think there might be some method to that madness. It is a tricky race track to pass at. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we see some of these drivers come down on lap number 14 or something like that because of the fact it is so difficult to pass. Now, we are getting word right now that Corey Shellman in his machine there, he just lost out a couple of positions. But we're getting word on the racetrack that some other things have happened while we've been focusing on that battle for the race lead. One of those was the MaxGrafix.co number 24 machine. Of course, tomorrow night is the MaxGrafix.co at the Glen event. And what happened here to Ben Mashburn going through turn number 6 here, Garrett? Just the back end kicks around, and then he goes over the curb. But I'm getting word that something else must have happened to Ben Mashburn. Let's see if we can see what happened just about a lap later in the same location on the racetrack. He gets well wide on the racetrack, goes off there, and he calls it quits. I think Ben Mashburn's night is done. But we're also hearing other things have happened. One of those might be involving this driver here, the number 21 threat level Midnight Machine of Jeffrey Vickery. Garrett, it seems like turn number 7 has been Calamity Corner here tonight.
Turn number 7, not an easy corner to get into, and these guys are struggling, especially as this race goes on, as he just takes it a bit wide there. I mean, we've certainly seen worse, especially at the threat level Midnight Camp. I mean, he still has all the fenders on the thing. He could recover from that, but he was going really slow there as he recovered. I don't know if he had maybe a gear issue as well.
And this is also on the 3-wide TV replay. This was a pass Brady Smith made on Corey Shellman. Shellman there running a little bit wide in the hairpin. Great job by Brady to open up that door. Jason Gracias also able to scoot on through. But folks, live. Almost back live. How about this? Philip Scott in the number 99. We just missed this. We will be back live in just a second. Scott getting a great run out of turn number 6 down towards turn number 7. Looking to the inside of the Texan Drew Eisenman. Those drivers almost bang wheels, but Scott here able to just scoot on through, and Philip Scott is going to be your new race leader. I thought he's going to be your new race leader. No, he's not going to be your new race leader. How about that? That's some crazy racing there, Garrett. I thought Scott's going to have Drew Eisenman, but no, Eisenman holds on, at least for now.
Like I mentioned on the previous time we went to this battle, Drew is amazing through the S's there, and I think if Philip wants to win this race, he's going to need to study him a little bit more and get a better run through there, heading into the hairpin, as Travis White, again, having an issue out there, but that didn't look too bad. It shouldn't be a terminal deal.
So we are now officially back live, trying to keep track of everything that's going on out there on the racetrack here, as Philip Scott now really holding on with the number 15 still nipping at his heels. Those drivers have just been glued together now since the drop of the green flag, and we are closing in on the halfway mark. We did have a couple of drivers come down pit road. Race Clark was one of those drivers who elected to come down pit road. John Canizaro Jr. also coming down onto pit road as well. Joshua Watt's been on pit road. So a couple of these drivers here, Garrett, starting to come down pit road. And here come two of your race leaders. Drew Eisenman coming down with Philip Scott in the number 99. But Maxwell Castro has elected to stay out in the number 15, so he will take the race lead. And remember when I told you, Garrett, I said I wouldn't be at all surprised to see if drivers come down at the 16 to go mark, maybe one lap early. We usually see drivers pit at the halfway mark on road courses, but they know how difficult it is to pass. Eisenman and Philip Scott both electing to come down pit road there before the halfway mark. Meanwhile, now the 15, he can go out there. He can try and put as good of a lap together as he can to try and do the overcut. Going to be really difficult on these older tires, but could put him in a better position as this race goes on.
Yeah, Peter, Philip and Drew there coming in just as they were racing in first and second, and hopefully they don't make any mistakes. And speaking of mistakes, we might have one here on the racetrack as I start talking again. Yeah,
the number 9 here, Corey Shellman, and blew the hairpin into the tire barrels over there. Luckily able to reverse out of it, but was trying to go around the lapped car there, and unfortunately into those tire barrels, just locked it up just a little bit. Meanwhile, out there on the racetrack, Travis White's very interesting night continues, as again he struggles here in the same corner we've seen him struggle with before. Just gets a little bit of wheel hop, blows the corner, goes off into the grass, and able to come back onto the racetrack very quickly. Meanwhile, back live on the racetrack, the number 15, Maxwell Castro, is coming down pit road. Now, it was an interesting pit road entry, as the number 15 of Castro had to go around the outside of Justin White on pit road entry. And Garrett, I'm sure that made that number 15 a little bit unnerved coming down pit road.
Yeah, timing is everything, Peter. You want to be able to get into pit road and get into your box as clean as possible, and just sometimes it doesn't work out for you with a lapped car pitting at the same time you do. And we'll see where everyone shakes out when they get back on the track. But it looks like Drew Eisenman had a much better pit road experience than Phil Scott did. But Peter, second and third place. Incident on the track.
Incident on the racetrack, and that could have major race implications for the 15 and the number 99 machine. Let's go back and break this one down, because this is going to take maybe a little bit of 3-wide TV slow motion. Coming off pit road here, Garrett, turn number 1 right here. The number 99, Philip Scott, has the preferred line. In fact, he gets around the number 15. He's clear of the number 15 as they go up to the hill. The 15 just sends it around the outside. I don't think the number 99 of Philip Scott was exactly expecting that. And looks like, the number 99 starts to drift away from the apex. They make contact, and just a coming together between the 99 and the number 15, which is greatly going to hamper both of their nights, that's for sure, as Drew Eisman able to scoot on away up at the front of the field.
Their misfortune could be all that Drew Eisman needs to just be able to not have to look in his mirror, run a smooth race, and win this thing. I haven't seen anything like that in a while, Peter. As this is the shot I was actually going to ask you for, to just see how incredible of a run the 15 gets on the outside going up the hill here.
Yeah, and there's really nothing the 15 could have done there. I think maybe he had fresher tires and just one lap fresher tires, and the number 99, Philip Scott, was really trying to do all he could there. But, I mean, the 15 was just trying to make the corner there, I think, Drew. And unfortunately for Philip, we'll get it kind of from Philip's angle here. Of course, he has to deal with the number 23, the lap car there, Travis White, as well. You can see the 99 is well off his line right there. You want to be as close, and he just drifts out. It looks like it just understeers and just washes out into the number 15 machine, which is, of course, really unfortunate. Philip Scott going to lose some time. Now, one thing I do want to make mention of as well is the number 15 of Maxwell Castro later that lap. You can see Drew Eisman kind of disappearing off into the distance. Did the number 15 have an incident here? Indeed, he did. He ran wide. Now, that's not going to lose him a whole lot of time, but it is going to lose him some time, as he's going to have a difficult time now trying to run down Drew Eisman. Game is on. He does have slightly fresher tires on the number 15 machine. All things considered, though, Drew, Philip Scott still running in third out there on the racetrack, but Philip is now about 4 seconds or so behind Maxwell, as you see the 12 of Shane Ledoux having a little bit of a moment there in turn number 7.
Peter, I feel like I've been robbed, because there was such a good battle out there between first, second, and third that we were going to have a tremendous race to the finish, and just pitting and pit road exit and just incredibly weird circumstance happens, and now those 3 guys are all shuffled out there. As we look at Chris Darling giving it all he could into the hairpin there.
Now, I was actually going to try and bring up the lap time history between these two. There we go. That might give a little bit better indication on these lap times, because the number 11 of Chris Darling, Drew, he just pitted on lap number 15. Brady Smith pitted 1 lap before him. That's why some of those numbers look a little bit large in the bottom tray. Is just, Brady Smith going off the racetrack there. But right now, these two battling for the 8th position on the racetrack, and Chris Darling trying to run down Brady Smith, and with some fresher tires, I wouldn't be at all surprised if Darling is able to get by him here relatively soon. So we will keep an eye on that battle. Closest battle for position on the racetrack, though, well, it was the closest battle for position on the racetrack. It was between Jeffrey Vickery and Travis White, but Travis White having another moment at that corner. Garrett, I think if Travis White could race one corner on this entire racetrack, I think I know which one it would be.
I think we got that picture by now, buddy. And if I know you keep calling me Drew, so if you want to maybe get Drew in here as like an in-car reporter, I could go take the rest of the night off. But I'm having way too much fun to do that, Peter. And you're so perfect most of the time. It's good to have a little bit of fun as we're watching Drew take care of his stuff here.
I guess I just have Drew on my mind because he's out there winning the race. You know, he's so good he can just kind of erase you alongside me. You know. I guess Garrett's already relieved him of his 3-wide TV duties after that comment. Garrett, you're great to be alongside up here in the 3-wide TV booth as always. as we got the awkward silence there. Don't you just love that,
Peter,
folks? Yeah, what's
Peter,
up?
is there, I heard a rumor. Now, it was on the Discord, so you can let everyone know right now and squash it. But I heard the rumor that you're going to get John Gruden to come in next Thursday and do commentary now with all his free time. Did you send him an email about it?
I've heard he doesn't have any email anymore. I've heard he's thrown away every email account he's ever seen in his entire life. So I can't get a hold of him. Meanwhile, John Freeman out there on the racetrack has had some issues there going off the racetrack. Looks like he is able to make it back on. Joshua Watt saying, okay, I'm just going to get around this. That was not for position. Meanwhile, just up the road, the number 20 DeWalt scheme, which also is a really cool throwback to Matt Kenseth, going into what has 110% been Calamity Corner here tonight, loses the back end on that number 20 machine, goes for a half spin, and John Freeman says, okay, I'm just going to go right back on by here. But as I say that, I think John Freeman might have just had a moment in the S's. This is just a little bit up the road from where Drew Eisenman, the race leader, was, and he just ran wide here. Can he keep it out of the wall? He can, but man, that's as sideways as we have seen any car here tonight.
Yeah, he was definitely way out there sideways. But Peter, just going back to that corner there, we used to call it, I think, the short shoot. I don't know if they still call it that, but we used to try to carry as much speed through there to get to the hairpin as possible. Is that still the idea with these heavy cars, or have things changed since the last time I've been to this racetrack?
No, I think that's fairly a good description. It's number 12, Shane Ledoux, has a little moment right there. He gets things going back in the right direction. I think we could just have a camera stationed on that one corner here tonight. So meanwhile, out there on the racetrack here, Garrett, Drew Eisenman has actually been losing some of his race lead, and I don't know exactly if this is due to lap traffic or what, but look at this that I'm about to pull up between Eisenman and Castro behind him. The number 15 is hunting him down, and I'm not sure if Eisenman might just be saving tires or something, but besides the really disastrous lap that the number 15 had a little while ago, he's been averaging almost a full second faster than the number 77. That number 15 is hunting him down as we see some smoke there, possibly from Travis White in the hairpin.
Peter, like they always say, though, catching him is one thing and passing him is another. We're going to see if Max has enough tire left when he gets to Drew to make the pass, but it's definitely going to be a heck of a battle to keep an eye on, as hopefully we don't pull up another issue for the 23. It has been a long 21 laps or so for this 23 car, Travis White.
Yeah, the lap count is quickly winding down here tonight, as sure enough, that smoke that we did see was from the 23 of Travis White there, kind of just putting it in the tire barriers. Not the first time we have seen someone go into those tire barriers. Meanwhile, let's go see what's going on out there on the racetrack. This was a battle a little while ago. Chris Darling, last lap, actually got by Brady Smith, but Darling, oh my goodness, a huge hit there going into the turn number 10 and also getting hit by the number 12 of Shane Ledoux. And Darling with a huge hit. He was running in the 8th position there, Garrett, and I'm sure Darling is not going to be too happy with that.
I don't think Chris is going to be too pleased, and I think he was probably pretty satisfied and content with the run he was having inside the top 10, keeping all 4 wheels on the ground. But that corner is also starting to cause a lot of problems for these guys out here, as they're just trying to carry too much speed and getting wide, and when you do, you just head straight for those tire barriers, as we're going to take another look at it.
Now we'll put this one on the 3-wide TV slow-mo cam because we can. You can see him turning into the corner here. Hunting for the apex and missing. And then at some point it looks like he's just like, all right, I'm just going to send it into the wall because that's where we're headed anyway. And unfortunately, Chris Darling spins it right around, and you're not going to see it right here. Maybe we can change it. There we go. Chris Darling just gets clipped by the number 12 right there, Shane Ledoux. Having a rough night as well in his car. It looks like he went around into the tire barriers, able to get his car pointed in the right direction. He's going to continue on. Meanwhile, up at the front, as we are back live, the battle for the race lead continues to close up. Eisenman now just 1.9 seconds ahead of the number 15 of Castro, and it's not like Eisenman here is running slouch lap times. Eisenman is running very good lap times, Garrett. I mean, he's not... I don't think he's backing off. I think that the 15, remember, he has 1 lap fresher tires on the number 15. He really is closing in on Eisenman. The big question is going to be, can the 15 not only catch Drew, he's got plenty of time to do so, 7 laps to go, but can he get around him?
Absolutely. That's going to be, like I said earlier, a heck of a battle, because these two guys did not get to run side by side earlier in the race because they had that buffer of Philip Scott between them. But now it's pretty much these two guys battling for the lead unless someone else jumps into the picture. But less than a second between them. There's only a couple distinct passing zones to this track. We're going to have to see if there's going to be a long setup and he might follow him for a couple laps and then try to pass him, or if he's just going to send it in and hope for the best. Two very talented and incredible racers, and this is amazing for people watching this at home. These guys are doing a great job.
Yeah, and I think we're going to have to keep this camera on the battle for the race lead unless other stuff happens around the racetrack like we have been kind of jumping to as this entire race has been going on, because Garrett, right now, this battle, half a second between your top two. The next closest battle on the racetrack is on the order of about 6 seconds. That's between Josh Sobel and Brady Smith. So Sobel right now running in 7th, ironically 1 spot above where he started. I say ironically because he's the first driver in the top 10 to actually have picked up spots from the drop of the green flag. Eisenman started first. Castro started second. Scott started third. NSRA fourth. Race Clark started fifth. Gracia started in sixth. They've all held station up to this point of the race. But then you have Sobel, who started eighth, now running seventh. Brady Smith has gained 3 spots here tonight. John Freeman in 11th is currently our biggest mover of the race, from 20th up into 11th, plus 9 positions. No other driver has picked up more than 3, so a good night here for the 05 machine of John Freeman. Garrett, coming around to 5 laps to go, and I must say, I think we are going to have a little bit of a scrap for the race lead here very, very, very soon.
Yeah, he's there. No need to knock. The doorbell cam says that he is right at the door, and we're going to see if he comes on home here as we're headed into the trouble area here of the short chute. As we go into the hairpin, will he make the move this lap, or is he going to set him up and study him and make it happen maybe the next lap or a lap after that? There's no need to rush this pass. Make it when you feel like you're going to be able to pull it off safely and effectively.
Yeah, Eisenman there running a little bit wide in turn number 11, but that does give him a good shot on to the front straight. Now, Eisenman here really going to have to hit his marks here late. Here is the run up to turn number 1 and 2. Look at that number 15, really just hugging the apex there and hugging the apex. Eisenman gets a little bit slideways out of turn number 2, and you can see how that just hurt the drive off of that corner, Garrett. Eisenman here really starting to struggle with those rear tires. It looks like right now the 15 might have a little bit more tire left than Eisenman.
Absolutely, Peter. Drew's tires are not happy with him right now, especially after those 2 slides, and we're going to see if he can hold them off here as Castro gives it all he can get, uses them up a little bit there, and can he pull off this pass? This gets very narrow very quick here.
It gets very narrow very quick, but Castro with a little bit of Rubbins racing there through turn number 7 is going to get back to the race lead, or to the race lead for the first time here tonight. Coming to just 4 more laps to go. Eisenman is going to fall back to second, and Garrett, I'm so impressed with the drive that the number 15 has done as he goes off into the gravel there just a little bit. I thought his night was done after that contact. Ooh, a little bit of a contact there from Eisenman. Maybe he didn't appreciate that little bit of argy-bargy that they did in turn number 7, but Castro still holds on to the race lead. This could be exciting here, folks. Don't go anywhere, as we're down to just 4 laps to go. 8 miles left at Sonoma.
Wow, definitely some Rubbins racing there, and I think you're spot on. Drew did not like the way the 15 used him up and passed him, but as far as I'm concerned, that was one of the few opportunities you have to pass around here, and when you're going for the win, you have to take it. But what an incredible debut in the National Sim Racing Association Beer Street Journal Grand National Series it would be for Max Castro to come out here to Sonoma and beat the likes of Drew Eisenman. But Drew's not giving up yet. We'll see if he has some tire left, if he cools him down, and can make another run at him.
Yeah, Eisenman definitely going to have to cool off those tires. Of course, Castro also losing his front bumper there in just a little while ago. William Kerwin saying that was a little bit of a Tony Stewart Rubbins Racing action here at Sonoma. We've seen that before for sure. Now the number 15 needs to get his head down. He's got clean track in front of him. Keep those tires underneath him. He's doing a good job of keeping it nice and smooth here, Garrett. I'm just watching the back end of the 77 just wag a little bit, but the 15 here able to keep the tires underneath them, which not only gives you good drive up off the corner, but it also helps keep those tires cool and keeps their longevity. And as of course, as I say that, the 15 has a little bit of wiggle there coming through the final kink to the start-finish line. But man, what an interesting end to the race this has been. Castro now almost up to a second race lead, but anything could happen here. Just one slight off by the number 15 could be the end of his race.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything can still happen. The 15, he has to keep his four wheels on the pavement here. But, Peter, if I'm in that 15 car, I want enough distance between me and Drew that he cannot dive bomb me in the hairpin. If I already made him mad, I don't want to take any chances. So these next 2.5 laps or so are very important to extend that lead, so there is zero chance that Drew could dive bomb you. So we'll see what he does here as we have a beautiful shot of the suspension as we go over some of these bumps and hills here at Sonoma.
Yeah, you get to see how that suspension really does get a workout as you do go over those bumps, and we'll see whether or not Castro here gets off the racetrack in the penultimate corner. We're hearing that maybe an issue has happened with the driver of the number 22 machine, so let's see if we can see what happened here to Race Clark, the National Air and Space Administration machine, who has been airborne multiple times this season, running right behind the number 23 of Travis White. Hopefully, Race Clark doesn't go airborne this time. Woo, whoa, whoa, Race. Just kind of wagging the dog going into turn number 11.
Yeah, no harm, no foul there. I mean, his tires and brakes probably won't be happy with him, but at least he didn't end up in the air or on his roof. So as we look here at the leader, we have a couple people in the chat wanting to check in on Josh Sobel real quick as he's in the top 10 here, having a solid run in 7th place.
Yeah, Sobel is definitely having a solid run. Let's see if we can dial him up. There he is in his run down through the S's right here, and going to come into the penultimate corner here. Just solid, keeping it on the black stuff. I'm sure that's all he really wanted to do here tonight, Garrett, because he didn't even have this racetrack before about 6:30 Eastern time today. So Sobel doing a great job here. A good solid run for the 56.
Yeah, just bring her home, Josh. I mean, nothing to be ashamed of for your first time here, and when you come back here, perhaps you'll be one of the front runners. As our leader, Max Castro, is taking... Wow, he's not leaving it all out there. I guess he figures he doesn't need these tires for next week as he heads into the hairpin to take the white flag.
15 coming out of the hairpin for the penultimate time here tonight in his run up towards turn number 1. He definitely has put on a clinic in the last 15 laps. He pitted with 15 laps ago. He pitted on lap number 15. Maybe that would have been telling us up here a little bit of an omen that he might be the driver to beat towards the end of the race, calling his own number when he came down pit road and hitting some of those bumps for the final time here tonight. How impressive has this been for the number 15? Works his way through that turn right there as Eisenman gets every single bit of the curb. You don't see Philip Scott. He's still well out of this picture. Just now coming up towards the corner with the jump. But man, the number 15 kind of showing us that you don't need a front bumper to win a road course.
Yeah, he's announcing his arrival into this league in fashion here, Peter. And like you said, nothing short of just a really impressive run. And for Drew Eisenman, another heartbreaker. He's got a Daniel Hemrick type season going on here. When is he going to get the victory? Every week he comes close. As we're headed here into the hairpin for the final time, and it looks like Maxwell Castro is going to take it, Peter.
Coming out of the final corner, has to make his way through the kink. You can tell he's already celebrating. Don't celebrate too quickly, but he gets the job done. Checkered flag is out here. Eisenman going to come across the line in the second position. Philip Scott, he's going to come across the line in third, assuming he can make it to the line. There is the number 99 machine. Definite going to be interesting to hear his thoughts of that contact up at the top of the hill. I don't think he's going to be all too excited about that. Oh no! The 17 of Canizaro spins it coming out of the final corner. He's still plenty up the road from Race Clark, but I don't think he's doing a burnout too soon. As what's happened to Race Clark? Race Clark's had a moment, and this is a battle for position between Clark and Gracias. Clark gonna just barely hold on to fifth. Gracias there in sixth behind him. That was a lot closer, as now Race Clark tries to do some Tokyo drift up towards turn number one. And, Air and Space Administration, we have liftoff right there at the top of the hill. And who says you need solid rocket boosters? And our race winner, on the other hand, he's doing stuff with the tire barriers as well. As, I wonder if there was a little bit of bad blood there. I'm not exactly sure, but that could be interesting. Or maybe the 15's just trying to Tokyo drift it around the racetrack. I don't know. Yeah. Winner,
Yeah,
chicken dinner.
When I saw that, Peter, I thought maybe the 77 gave him a not so congratulations tap there, but as he went through the hairpin, looked like he was just doing some drifting. So looks like Freeman's going to celebrate with him a little bit here as well.
Yeah, everyone kind of doing some celebratory burnouts here on the front stretch. So the 15 gets to go to victory lane. What an impressive job to run down Drew Eisenman. It's tough to do a burnout here on the road course at Sonoma. Gets it turned back around. Just kind of go back and see if anything did go down. I don't think anything did. Ooh, I think there was a little bit of bad blood out there on the racetrack between the 77 and the number 15. I don't think Drew Eisenman appreciated getting roughed up here again. In fact, the second time he's been roughed up late in a race in the National Sim Racing Association. So we'll see what comes of that as the 15 and the 08 burn it down here on the front stretch. I'm sure Eisenman will say, hey, this guy's new to the league, and he comes in here, starts roughing people up, and I'm sure the 15 said, hey, I just wanted to win the race. Could be interesting to see what all comes down in the post-race discussion, as we will bring up the final race results here tonight, Drew, and of course we'll bring in some post-race discussions as well to hear from some of our drivers here in just a moment. And there we go. There we go. Okay. Is it broken? Is it broken? There we go.
Hey!
I tell you. Oh, I called you Drew again. Oh, yeah. Ugh. What? It hasn't been my best night. Maxwell Castro gets the win over Garrett Gleason in second. Philip Scott in third. John Canizaro in fourth. Race Clark coming home fifth. Jason Gracias in sixth. Josh Sobel, Brady Smith, Alexander Kerfon, and Corey Shellman running out your top 10 there, Drew.
Peter, you are a pro because you did that seamlessly. John Freeman coming home in 11th. Not the night he was hoping for. We have Justin White, kept it on the track, stayed out of trouble. 12th place. I imagine he wanted to finish in the top 10, but I'm sure he'll take that. Glenn Grimm got to celebrate with his teammate. Teammate comes home in 13th. Travis White, I gave him all sorts of problems by talking about him and turned 7th in 14th position. Jeffrey Vickery and his teammate Shane Ledoux come home in 15th and 16th. Joshua Watt in the nice throwback machine, 17th. CD was having a good top 10 run until he had that incident. Comes home in 18th position. Ben Mashburn, he also retired. These last three guys pretty much retired due to problems, but Ben Mashburn, Matt Cherry, and Stephen Ford will round out our 21 car field here, Peter. Easy for me to say.
Easy for you to say, that is for sure. Let's see if we can pull in tonight's third place finisher, however, Philip Scott into the booth. And Philip, probably not exactly the results you wanted there, finishing in third. I know you were looking forward to this race for the past couple of weeks, but a good result for you. What happened there coming out of the pit lane up at the top of the hill?
That wasn't even the start of the troubles. Yeah, it's frustrating is an understatement, but I mean, at least I didn't wreck completely out of the race. Still got third. Yeah, so actually 2 corners before that, the 77 and Sobel, Eisman and Sobel. I guess Sobel was going into pit road. I wasn't listening because I'm in a deadlock battle with the 77 for the lead, but they were kind of just like, I don't know, I couldn't really tell what was going on. They were kind of like side by side, and 77 blocked his way into pit road, and then by the time that happened, then it was no fault of Sobel at all, I should say. And then the 77 kind of blocked pit road and then came back, swapped the inside, and I couldn't really tell what exactly was happening because I couldn't really see. And then checked up, and then I got actually a good amount of damage. Right then, and then like a couple corners later was the pit road thing. At that point it was just frustration for me. Because like I lost a lot. I lost ground, I'm damaged now. 15's on me, but it wasn't. I wasn't trying to, turn myself or anything like usual. but I was just trying to put some pressure on, make him work for it, and I watched the replay and it was big net code on my end. I thought I left enough space. It looked like net code to me though, and I ended up getting the worst of it. But thankfully, I still finished third. But still, very very frustrating. At least the one good thing is I've been coming here every single week, every single Thursday and Friday and Mondays in TNR now, and I know I have a shot to win, and that's something that I used to not be able to say. So, and tomorrow's Watkins Glen, you bet that I'm going to do everything it takes to win.
Yeah, of course, tomorrow night we go from the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series to the Stay Tuned Sports Truck Series here on 3YTV at Watkins Glen. Definitely going to be a lot of fun to see you go out there and try and have another shot at getting the win. But let's talk about what we have in store next week here in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series. We go to Atlanta Motor Speedway for Hotlanta for a very quick, only a 60-lap event. It's going to be a little bit of a sprint next week.
Yeah, Atlanta is one of my absolute favorite tracks. I definitely one of my better ovals. The one fun thing, I'm obviously tire wear comes into play, but with it being 60 laps, it'll definitely be like a balancing act, knowing how much you can push your tires, because you don't want to. You'll have to use every bit of tire's life to get speed there. How much it wears, but at the same time, like I was saying, 60 laps, probably pit once or twice, and you just gotta honestly, it might probably won't. I'll probably just push a lot harder, or not a lot harder, but just push it a little bit more than normal, especially at the ends of runs. Not at the beginnings, because that's not worth it to overheat it for the rest of your run. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I know I had a race in the Friday night series a few weeks ago at Atlanta that I felt really good in, and I feel like in the Xfinity, and that's with lower horsepower. I'm way better in higher horsepower cars, so yeah, it should be fun. But yeah, still very disappointed, but at least my car survived, and like I was saying, I can hold my head high that I'm a threat to win every week now, and that just shows me I'm improving, and yeah.
Well, we will see you next week at Atlanta Motor Speedway. That is for sure, Philip. Good luck tomorrow night as well here on 3YTV.
Yep, thanks.
All right, that's going to do it with our third place finisher here tonight, driver of the number 99 machine. Let's see if we can pull in tonight's second place finisher, driver of the number 77 machine. I believe Garrett Gleason is caught up with Drew Eisenman. I don't know which way it is because I don't know who's who here tonight between these two. So Garrett, take it away.
Drew, let me first apologize to you for Peter calling me Drew all night. I'm a professional. Clearly he is not. But the comparison I want to get to is the comparison I made for you being like Daniel Hemrick in this league. You run up front every week, and it always seems like something happens. What do you need to do to get the monkey off your back and get your first win over here?
I think I just need to finish first. I think that would solve my problems.
Easier said than done. Well, it was looking good there for a while, Drew. You had some contact with our eventual race winner, Maxwell Castro. Could you take us through that a little bit, or do you care not to comment?
No, I will. I'm not afraid to comment. He just used me as a break going into, what is that, turn 8, I think? The last right-hander before the S's. Yeah, he didn't really take a viable line into the corner and just used the right side of my car as a brake, and just, ran into the side of me. I just wish I'd hit him harder in the carousel and just send him into the wall if that's how he wants to race. So, I mean, it's cool. I know how he wants to race people, and we'll race that way in the future.
Yeah, definitely some tension out there. You guys traded some pain after he got into you first, and obviously the payback you attempted there was certainly justified on your end. But going back to that, Peter and I were watching the battle when you were leading and he was catching you from second place. At that point in time, were you doing any saving of your tires and your equipment for when he got to you? And were you prepared to have a lengthy battle with him for the race lead?
I mean, I was doing everything I could to run as quick a lap, every lap as possible. I can't really save tires. I think that was pretty evident tonight. I think over one lap, I had the pace over anybody. I don't know if it's how I shift. I'm really aggressive on downshifts going into the corners. If I just get a little too much wheel spin off trying to get to the throttle too early, I don't know. I really struggled with saving tires, so I knew there was kind of no point. I was just hoping I could build a big enough gap with the undercut that he wouldn't be able to catch me. I was more worried about the 99, to be honest, and I just saw that he disappeared behind me. I'm sure I'll see in the replay exactly what happened to Philip. But no, I mean, I don't think that there was any saving that I could have done to be quicker than him. I was planning on racing him really clean and really hard, and then he just decided, no, it's going to take one attempt, and he's just going to use my car as a brake.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the story of your season so far. You have all the speed in the world, and the finishes just aren't what they need to be. You're always a little bit short when it comes time for it to happen. Next week, we're heading into Atlanta. I just want to get your thoughts quick on Atlanta and any shout-outs you might want to give before we let you go.
Yeah, I was really quick at Texas, and I like Atlanta a lot more than Texas. So hopefully, repeat of that kind of pace, and then hopefully I'll make better decisions on strategy calls. But yeah, looking forward to that one. As far as shout outs, Beer Street Journal, thanks for putting this on. All the sponsors at NSRA, Stay Tuned Sports Podcast. I'm not going to remember all of them because I don't have a list in front of me. And then, Garrett, you and Peter for putting on an awesome broadcast. It's really fun to kind of go back and watch these things after the fact. So, thanks.
Well, thank you, and congratulations on your second place, and good luck with Peter Short tomorrow, and hopefully he doesn't call you Garrett too many times. I believe Peter is caught up with our race winner, Maxwell Castro.
Yeah, I'm headed down to Victory Lane where I have caught up with tonight's race winner, driver of the number 15 machine. Had a lot of pace in the qualifying session, started on the outside pole, and got the job done running down Drew Eisenman from miles back. Man, I almost said Garrett Gleason there, Garrett. It's all back to front in my head here tonight, but a really impressive run there at the end of the race for the number 15 and getting his first win of the season, Maxwell. Congratulations. Well, perhaps we will not be getting a post-race interview. We'll try and dial him up one more time. Maxwell Castro, Peter Short, 3YTV booth. You got a copy? Well, folks, doesn't look like we will be getting a post-race interview after it's all said and done. Unfortunately, here tonight, not exactly sure. But nonetheless, nonetheless, a very interesting post-race result and a win for Maxwell Castro here tonight in the National Sim Racing Association Beer Street Journal Grand National Series. Garrett, kind of a zany race here tonight. Lots of drivers going off track. A lot of action in turn number 7 here tonight. I mean, a lot of action. The battle for the race win came down to turn number 7. Drivers going off the track in turn number 7. Just all over the racetrack action here in the Beer Street Journal Grand National Series. And of course, we want to give them a big shout out here on 3YT because Beer Street Journal, huge series sponsor. We absolutely love not only them supporting the series, but also what they add to the craft beer scenery, covering news across the country. Really, really cool stuff. If you want to go check out their most recent stuff, discussion about Sierra Nevada and bringing back the Celebration IPA, if that's kind of your thing. I mentioned last week I'm not an IPA person, but they have news across many different types of beer. Make sure you check out beerstreetjournal.com here tonight. Big shout out to our friends over at Stay Tuned Sports Podcast as well. MaxGrafix.co, they'll be sponsoring tomorrow night's race here on 3YTV, the MaxGrafix.co at the Glen. And then Taz Racing Customs, and of course our friends over at craigsetupshop.co.uk. Garrett, I do want to give a shout out to our friends over at SimTV as well for the camera angles that we had here tonight. Some really, really cool ones here at this racetrack. But do you have any final thoughts?
Well, Peter, I'm looking forward to racing with everyone tomorrow at Watkins Glen. I think we'll be able to have a good race, put on a good show. And Atlanta next week is going to be amazing. I hope everyone tunes in. But shout out to everyone here at NSRA, Beer Street Journal, Stay Tuned Sports. Appreciate everything. And when we come back to Sonoma, we're going to have an even better race.
That is for sure. For myself, Peter Short, Garrett Gleason, and everyone else in the 3Y TV family, we want to say stay safe out there, have fun, and we will see ya.